How are we all doing? All great. It's a good thing we've got some mirrors over here, because now at least it makes the space look a little bit bigger than usual. Okay, so yeah, thank you very much for being here now for this morning. We're going to be discussing video marketing, and everyone knows about that genius content, right? You've heard about it. But if we look at content itself, what about video actually being the king of content itself? So we're going to have a look at that and see how that actually plays out. Now, how many of you really found the content that we saw yesterday fascinating? I was really excited about seeing some of that branded content. It was really branded content in a sense, but also in a sense it was part advertising. So editorial type of content going on to television and going on to online. So that is actually category one. We have another 49 other types of video that we can actually have a look and see how that actually plays out online. So we're going to go through a kind of a strategy that looks at how this video can actually help you in the marketing. But this is really pitched. We have a lot of agency guys still here today. Let me see your hands, please. Agencies. Yeah, very good. Because a lot of the speakers yesterday were actually pitching everything to agency level. This is kind of a presentation that we give to our clients, because there's the 10% that is the people who are actually brand conscious and spending a lot of the budget to engage with big audiences. But there's the other 90%. A lot of businesses, innovators, engineering companies, science, pharmaceuticals, that really can use video as part of the solution. So we're going to be taking a look at that. So staying young. Who wants to continue staying young? So it's all about learning, right? You've got to Henry Ford. He reckons that anyone keeps learning will be still young. So we'll see through this learning process this morning that you're going to be actually come up looking a little bit younger. Okay. So we're going to be looking at this as marketing 101 in essence, because a lot of the companies that we actually engaged with still find that fundamental issues with their marketing. They're not able to connect with video to help them in the marketing. So in essence, this is what we actually try and communicate with them. So that marketing is not really easy. They've got three things to be concerned about. And firstly is the market, how they look and view the market, how they view and look at their customer, and how their products and services really fit into this mix. So myself personally, I've been involved since the early 90s, and when I've been looking at the market at that time, it was really a lot easier. The budgets were a lot higher. The executives who actually had a lot of money to spend towards video, and things were easy. Because the reason why people spent money at the time was just because video was nice to have. They used it for the launches, they used it for their corporate video. And as time went by, we slowly started seeing that people wanted to see value out of this. So this is why it became important for me to find the reasons why video should be used in the marketing space. Okay, so let's have a look and see where the problems are. And I take things just on the surface, what I see. I go to Google and I'll see what is there for me, and then I take that and use it into my the companies that we deal with, the customers that we know, and see how does that relate? Does it make sense to me? So if you go to Worldometers, you'll actually see that the population, you'll actually see the births come up one at a time, but you see a lot less deaths, which means the population is physically growing. So this is quite something amazing to see, that population is really out there. And that comes with its own series of problems. When last did you guys go to a coffee shop? Usually when you go to a coffee shop, you have the coffee or tea, right? Well, nowadays, you can ask for a black eye. Who's that a black eye? Rispetto, lungo. So you almost start speaking Italian in order to find the cup of coffee that you want. So the range of products within one space is actually increased quite a lot. So, yeah, and that also becomes an issue where people just don't only want a different kind of coffee. They've got to consider, is this fair trade coffee? Is it being grown sustainably? So all these kind of issues are actually interesting how customers are thinking about the next product. And of course, we have technology. Technology is also very key in how people actually finding the products and services. And we'll discuss that this time as well. Okay, so the behavior of people has changed. People are becoming impatient. They really need to find what they're looking for quickly and easily. So for me, I don't know what your experience has been. Every time you want to find a particular product or service, it's really lying on the third page. And it's not even in your face to try and see what you're actually looking to find. Especially in a lot of these South African websites that I've noticed. So a lot of the executives, when it comes to we engage with, we have a meeting and that actually takes several hours to actually go through, because essentially they are engineers. They innovate. They've developed a product, and they want to explain to us how they actually came. Then all the research that they've done, how well this product has actually been manufactured. And you know what? Nobody really gives a damn. Am I right? Nobody cares about how much effort you put into this product. They only really want to know is what is it going to do? I mean, we ask them, so after all the session that we have with them, what does it really do? What does your product do to the customer? So that's essentially the kind of essence that we want to extract out of the customers. Looking at technology, I don't know if you guys, this is the supercomputer that came out in 1956, okay? 5 megabyte hard drive, it weighed 1 ton, okay? So this is to see, what is the latest thing that you can put in your pocket? And obviously there are 2 terabyte flash drives that are available in the market, which is huge. Okay, so I'm looking at this technology and I'm thinking, what the kind of journey that I've actually faced. It's like chasing a train. You guys see these images where people are trying to catch on the last wagon and you're trying to grab the last barge you can get on. So this is how it feels for me, having seen technology grow so quickly, so fast. And as you try to grab onto the last barge to get onto the train, there's another faster train coming past you. And then you've got to actually start running even faster to catch the next one. So, yeah, I mean, that's essentially what it's been like. So, I'm looking at video, and how video is going to be touching lives in the space that we're actually working with. Now, you've all heard about the Internet of Things and how smart fridges are going to be ordering our milk and all our ingredients. But now, how about figuring out what's inside the fridge and what kind of a recipe can we create for this evening? Now it's getting smart, okay? And how about having a video? Obviously this can be transmitted right there where you are. And with augmented reality, it'll be right in front of your eyes, okay? So it will help you and guide you and prepare the recipe as you actually doing all of it. So these are some of the exciting things that I'm looking forward to see and develop in the video space. So, if we look at artificial intelligence, people are spending more money on that than it actually took NASA to put the man on the moon. So it's becoming a huge, huge thing. And I can guarantee you that those who don't acquire artificial intelligence are going to be left behind. You're not going to be able to compete in the space without having that support. So if you're looking at how artificial intelligence really plays a role in video itself, so how do you make a robot, a machine, to learn to be more like human? How would you do that? So some of the developers that I've seen actually took 5,000 movies and they actually took that content and fed it into the machine, because through all those movies you'll be able to have human interaction. I mean, you have love stories, you have hate, you have murders, you have so much different kind of interaction that the machine and intelligence can actually apply. So one of the apps that is actually coming out now is to monitor through a camera the kind of expressions while you're watching a particular video content. So this is in terms of focus groups, when you want to make sure that the content that you're producing is actually going to be relevant into your target market. It looks at your features of your expressions and is able to figure out how you're absorbing the content. So that's artificial intelligence in the future in terms of video content. So, guys, we've got 3.8 million different apps. We've got so many different solutions to try and work out how our marketing is going to work for us. And one of those seats there, I don't know whether it's always been filled, and that is the video marketing seat. So, unless you came out with it, okay, you'll know that video marketing is a strategy and it's something to be applied for. Am I right? How many of you are using video into your marketing strategy? Yeah, fantastic, there's quite a few hands. So let's see what else we can actually use as part of this. So it's not just a single video that will give us a tactic about getting some leads or whatever. It should be a whole complete strategy around video. If you look at, we were talking about earlier, banners. So I'm really excited to see that a lot of people are starting to use video right up front into the banners, because that's where people are mostly going to be engaged with. So this is a small example of how some banners are getting created. If you can see, this is simple, to the point, and it draws your attention to exactly what you do. This is something that you can scroll all the way down, and it's all about the theme, about going deeper into the ocean. So as you go deeper and deeper into scrolling down, you're actually uncovering more and more video. So quite exciting creative ideas on how people can engage up front on the banners. Great. So what about landing pages? You guys using video on your landing pages? So we know that at least if you have a video right next to your product, you'll be able to convert that a lot easier than if you just had text. One thing that I find that is going to be key is customer service. Especially in South Africa, we have a lot of training still to do about our products and services, and that communication doesn't come out across. So it means that you can be bright eyed and pushy every day. If you've got a video that's explaining your frequently asked questions, you can be able to immediately help your customers right immediately up front. So we use video right across the whole organization. And I want to tell you what's actually coming up, which is going to be a huge, huge factor in terms of organizations, not just for marketing, but for e-learning as well. Now what we're doing with e-learning, we are developing a simulation. So then we're taking 3D technology, and we're taking gaming technology, as well as interactive technologies, and we're putting all this together. So we're putting a course for electricians to learn how to put circuits together, and they can physically pick up probes and put it into a circuit board, and then test and see how the voltage meter is. Now, we can actually take this and then throughout Africa, throughout the world, and people can actually start finding learning by simulated content. So that's going to become a huge thing. So the classroom of tomorrow is really going to be living online. So we have some pros, of course. Video is the most powerful, engaging kind of content that we can produce to engage with customers. But it has some flaws as well. So it is expensive. So the first thing how much is a video going to cost? A lot of people ask that. So it obviously takes time. It takes time to prepare and plan for your video. And I know that a lot of departments have got difficulty in proving there's going to be a return on investment. And a return on investment, as we heard yesterday, can mean a lot of things. The other big problem that we have, I think specifically in South Africa, is bandwidth. We're seeing a lot of fiber that's been laid out and we are really catching up. I think we've been about 2 years behind, and I'm glad to see that speeds are really getting up now, which means that video can actually be the key thing that we can communicate. If we compare what South Africa is compared to Singapore, these are the stats that I've got, 6.38 megabits, so about 10 times less the speed of the rest of some of the major players, especially in Southeast Asia. So yeah, now let's have a look at video and how video actually can excite you emotionally. Now, there's a part of your brain called the amygdala, and in that portion, there's a chemical called dopamine that gets released. Now, a lot of the rock stars actually use other kind of drugs to release these similar agents to get them excited and all that, and have a retention and have some creativity going. But any visual content that really excites you, it releases this dopamine chemical in your brain, and it helps you with memory retention, helps you remember the brand stuff. Okay, so I do some very basic search, guys. I look at what really comes up to me from Google, and I really look at what is happening in the marketplace, and I'm seeing, does it make sense? I mean, this is something anybody can actually go and find. It's the Google Consumer Barometer, and we are looking at the motivating factors that people actually go online to watch video. So the people go to see video because they want to escape, they want to be relaxed, they want to get inspired. And those are key factors for me to know. How do we actually reach out, and what kind of content do we create with those? To feel connected with people and communicate. I mean, that's great. On the other side of the scale, we find that in South Africa particularly, where the first source was where people actually thought about buying a product, where did it come from? So this is why we still see that a lot of the budget is still spent on television advertising as opposed to online. Okay? So that balance is going to shift. Because if you look at this worldwide, we have at least 20% is online, and reduced down to about 25 to 30% of television being the medium that is affecting consumers to buy products and services. Okay, so if we look at television, and we know that people watch YouTube on the TV screen, and that's what's happening all the time. And then of course they watch TV on YouTube. So it's all part and parcel. If we look at ourselves, that we have many times been to SABC, we've produced a lot of content for Africa, so we've even been to the top floor, and it's very, very challenging, very difficult to get your content sold to SABC. In fact, you probably have to buy the airtime to put your own program. You're going to we're saying that we're giving the program away for free. So even there, it's become really difficult. So the future of television broadcasting I'm seeing it as a demise, because it's going to either change completely or fade out in the next 10 years. Because obviously, TV over internet is going to become the new thing. What television has got over everybody else, of course, is the journalistic capabilities. They're very good with news content. And that's where they're going to feature, and that's where they're going to survive in the future. Okay, if you look at creating your content onto YouTube, that's easy. It's virtually free. So somebody like Justin Bieber, right? He's got 32.7 million subscribers, and he's getting 16.5 billion total views. You cannot possibly get that on television. Okay? So a single entity can actually get a lot of connection online. Now, there's our friends from Oracle. Do you know where Oracle comes from? Yeah, it's in the ancient city of Delphi, the god of Apollo. People would go from all around. It's a sacred place. People from all around the ancient world would go and ask questions. They would seek to find answers. So that has become quite relevant in today's society, in the modern. I found this image that's got quite fascinating. That, of course, the oracle of what we know today is artificial intelligence, isn't it? It's figuring out, and this is where people are going to be finding out the answers. One thing that we deal with customers a lot is what video can actually do for you is, of course, page ranking. If you're on page 1, you'll have a lot of benefits of getting a lot of leads coming through to you. And what we've done, in fact, they say that it's 53 times more likely to rank on page 1 on organic results if you've got video. So I wanted to test it. So we've got a program. By the way, of course, if you're in the top 3, first position gives you 33%, then secondly 18%, and then third. So if you want to hide the biggest mystery in the world, the dead body or something, you put it on page 2. There's probably no one's going to find it, right? Okay, so we've got this program called Leading Edge. And what we do is it's a studio program, and we invite CEOs, okay? This is all about personal branding. We invite CEOs and we tackle topics like entrepreneurship. How did they get where they got there? What life lessons are there? Okay, it's about an 18 to 20 minute kind of program. And without any effort, once I put it on, it's not even on YouTube, it's on Vimeo. It got into the first 2 slots there you see underneath there. So it's an excellent way to immediately start getting the product in there right on the front page of Google. Alright, so I want to just quickly touch and just peel off the onion layers from video. Make you understand what video as a medium is really all about. Are we cool for that? Alright, so just focus on this word here for me because it's kind of important how your brain's got to actually function. What do you feel or think when you see a piece of text like a waterfall on the screen? You got it? Okay? You need to get in touch with your own feelings at the moment, right? Okay. Now, how do you feel? What do you think? Not very much. Okay. All right. So now, this is the waterfall. Okay, so now what? So now we're building the imagery, and now you get a sense of what might be happening. Okay? It's getting clearer. So now we apply motion. Can you see that suddenly things are starting to happen? Now what you're going to do is another layer of video where we start using slow motion, we're using camera movements, and all of these elements start to give you a deeper sense of feeling and more connection to the content. Did you guys get that? Did you feel that? Specifically when I had the word, just the text of waterfall, okay? The brain was working harder, wasn't it? So with text, your brain works harder. The more information, visual information you give, they say that a text is worth 1,000 words. It's quite the sense of what we're talking about is really in that. Okay, now what you're going to do, now we're going to put a story. Now we put a person inside the waterfall, okay? So we're adding a story. Once you have a story into the whole thing, now you're even more engaged, all right? Just wondering, what the hell is a man doing there? Could I be doing that? You know, suddenly you start feeling connected and engaged. Were you engaged for a moment there? Okay, so, yeah, this is how stories, in fact, sound as well. Our sound is 50% of the impact of video, and it's not underestimated how we can use it. Now, I don't have all the devices here to share with you, but who's actually tried virtual reality? Put some goggles on, virtual reality? Yeah. So this would be, now you'd be surrounded inside the waterfall and have a complete immersive experience when you're doing this. Now these are the live 360-degree videos that actually give you that experience. So obviously I can't do that because you need to wear special gear to experience that. But let me tell you, it's overwhelming, okay, when you're inside the space. Okay, so I just want to take you back a little bit and make you understand how the video in itself has actually evolved. Now, we've had print for a very, very long time. And that was when cows were cows and goats were goats and everything was the same. Okay, then we had radio and then very quickly we developed into television and the internet obviously took over the whole space of media. And obviously then online video became this is the slide that I had for a few years. Online video became the media to connect through the internet. But now I've realized, and I've created a new slide, that the future of video is really extending through to gaming. Now, I know that a lot of the 13-year-olds are playing around with games with augmented reality, but that's moving slowly into entertainment. We're seeing a lot of libraries out there that actually engage educational content in that. Of course, in education, and there's a project there that we're doing in terms of training, and it actually gets into the industry. So we have a lot of miners in the mine which have they need to learn how to be safe in a mining condition. And you can show a certain amount of video content to them. They still do not have that physical experience of how to actually go. So there's a 100-meter obstacle, if you like, that they have to get through. They have to switch up a whole lot of things. They have to overcome sort of gases and a whole lot of complex things. So we're taking gaming in a sense, and we're actually putting it into training. So we're allowing the training to feel and see how that experience. Once they go through this kind of training, they know that when it's stimulated stuff. I mean, we've seen it with pilots, we've seen it with racing drivers, and a whole lot of other experiences like that. So the industry is going to be really be filled up with a lot of that virtual reality. In essence, we'll be able to communicate with other people from around the world, but physically with holographic imagery, they will be right there. So it's going to be a very blurred distinction between a simulated world and the real life world. You might as well be living in the Matrix, right? All right. So how many of you know about Star Trek? You've seen the holodeck. I personally didn't believe that this would become true, but in essence, it's really coming to life now. All right, so the AR and VR market is going to take over in a big way. We're seeing by the year 2020, there's going to be a new trend of augmented reality architects that are looking specifically on how to develop AR content. So this is not new, but you've seen how cars are actually creating augmented reality content to engage with the customers in cars. Okay, so I know Ford is doing it, Land Rover is doing it. So you're basically going to be going into online space to actually see how the cabin feels, what the car features are all about before you actually go and physically try one out. Okay, so if 10 years from now, what I would be able to do is put some holo emitters around the room here and actually take physically this whole presentation and take it out into the space over here, and I'll be able to take you through and walk you through everything that I'm explaining. So that's fascinating, and I really can't wait for this kind of technology to be out in the marketplace. So what I've got is who's experienced augmented reality? I've got a little sample here which we're going to hand out. This is something that came out of the Harvard Business Review, where it's a magazine, and people now, magazines haven't really been doing all that great, but they're now actually taking a tablet, we're taking the app, you can actually physically get into the essence of, this is like a little factory here, where certain things are happening from one side to another. So I'll be passing it around, so you guys can actually see how just flat content on page can actually jump out at you, and you can physically go around it and explore how the 3D world. So we create the 3D content, and through the app, we're able to get people to actually explore what's happening in that space. Okay, so this is what it looks like flat, and this is what the image is going to be going around. So you can just take out and just have a look and see how that feels out for you. So when we engage with companies, we actually go back to the basics, 101. What are you looking for? So people want to make marketing a lot simpler, make it more easy. They want to find more leads. People are actually wanting more sales, and a lot of people actually want to look at their branding and how their brand actually is working online. So firstly, we're going to go and see how marketing can be made easy. So those of you who have heard this, the proverbial faster horse. If I'd ask people what they wanted, they would say faster horses. So he's the guy who first actually came up with the production lines. He was able to get vehicles out to people who couldn't afford them before. But General Motors, a few years later, came up with looking at what customers really wanted and really brought Ford down to its knees, because they had a solution and they said it for a vehicle for every purpose and for every purse. So they were looking at the second-hand market, they were looking at insurances, they were looking at a whole lot of other things that customers wanted around vehicles, purely than just having one that is black. You guys remember it? You can have anything in a car as long as it's the Model T Ford, as long as it's black. So if we look at what is happening now, Tesla is going to be bigger than all other vehicles, even though they're not even selling as many, because they've got that vision and that innovation that people want. To me, it's kind of obvious. Everyone's going to be driving electric vehicles in the future. So why not be the first to provide that solution? Am I right? So how do we engage with customers? So to me, obviously, engagement is video, and we saw how powerful video can be. So we can get some intel from video when we use it online to engage with customers. So what is good content? Good content should be obviously engaging, but it's got to be original. Okay, and it's got to be inspiring. You saw some very, very inspiring content yesterday. But one other aspect that is very shareable is content that is humorous. So if we look at this lady over here, do you guys know, have you heard of Suzelle? Okay, so this is something that's very humorous, but it's very original, very unique. So there's a whole lot of ways that you can maybe look at this kind of concept that can be monetized in a DIY space maybe, but she's used it obviously for branding for sale. But let's take a look and see how she developed some of this content.
Today I'm going to show you how to make your own DIY aircon. So let's get started, guys. You will need an old cooler box, an elbow pipe, a small fan, mine's solar powered, my old ice cream containers for ice, a drill and a jigsaw. Fill your container with water to make big ice blockies. Trace around your pipe and your fan. Start by drilling some pilot holes. Cut out your holes, holy moly. Pop your plumbing pipe in place and secure it with duct tape. And your fan, time for the ice. And there you have it, your very own homemade aircon. Who needs technology? DIY, because anybody can keep cool in a heat wave.
Okay, cool. What do you guys think of that? So I was thinking, I'm going to look at global brands, big brands, and see which are the most engaged brands out there in the world. So this is the slide that I found, and I saw that the channels, that the branded channels, video channels that they've got behind all of this, actually correlated to the growth in the industry. So that was fascinating for me to find that actually video actually works. If we look at Coca-Cola, of course, I'm very interested to see what they do in terms of the marketing and in their space, because they've put up 20 centers around the world to be totally socially responsive with how the customers actually engaged with their marketing. So that tells me, because a company like that, that's faced with anti-sugar kind of movement, they'd be seriously looking how the brand actually connects with the marketplace. So there's a lot of engagement, a lot of content that's out there. The feeling of summer, the feeling of having a good time, holidays, is really connecting with audiences out there. So I just want to give you guys a augmented reality and a virtual reality overview of what is out there and what can be used for promotional purposes and a range of other things. Okay, so please have a look. Out your living area, and then you find products online that would actually fit into your actual space. So that's probably going to be a huge thing in the future. Okay, so we're going to look at how we generate more leads. That was the second question. We made marketing easy. Now, how do we generate more leads? Now, any fishermen in the room? Has anybody done any fishing? No fishermen? A little bit over there. Yeah, that's good. That's great. Fishermen will actually make good marketers, and I'll explain to you why. Okay, because, I mean, just like in business, big fish eat small fish. But also, we need to know where the fish are. So a good fisherman will actually go and scout the area, and you see where the sunlight is, where the best spot. If you find the best spot, you'll find the best fish. So it's like comparing to clients, and I'm trying to see how we're going to get more clients. So, okay, so we know that certain fish will like certain currents, they like certain, because they need to feed, so they need to be at a certain depth. So knowing more about fish will actually give us make it a lot easier for us to actually catch one. All right, so there's more than one way to catch a fish, right? So there's fly fishing, there's spear fishing, there's deep sea fishing. So if we find the right bait and the right lure, so we need to provide something that we can catch a fish with. And what will that be? So this is how I want to introduce to you the variety, the different types of video that is out there, and the kind of video that is going to be pertinent for the kind of client that we want to get. Okay? All got that idea in your head? Cool. So let's have a look at the two styles of video that is separate. Firstly, we've got live action, and then we have animated video. Okay. So we're going to look at those two to see how that actually plans out. So we've got live action, we've got animation. What would you choose? You've got a video coming up. What would you choose? Now, if you choose a live actor or a presenter, you have to put up with the temperament, okay? And trust me, some of these personalities have got this serious temperament. If you've got an animated guy, I mean, you don't have to worry about it. You can make him do whatever you want him to do. You can jump through hoops and you've got control of him. But you have no authenticity. You have no connection with that person, right? So when you want to build trust, for small businesses that want to connect with their customers, they want to talk directly to the client themselves. So that'll be better suited for that reason. You agree with me? Also, when we try and get to film the actual executive, and we have to put him in front of the camera, I've learned the hard way from long ago, is that even the biggest executives that actually speak to people live every day, to hundreds of people, the minute you switch on the camera in front of them,
they freeze. I was waiting for a couple of hours to see this executive, and he was sweating, and I thought he was sick, but he was actually worried about his interview because he had to face the camera. But he was engaging with people, with big crowds every day, and he couldn't actually face the camera. So from there, I had to learn there's got to be some tricks. There's got to be a way that you can make people relax and feel good before they get into the camera. Okay, so I'm going to show you a piece of footage, and you need to let me know whether it was real life content or animated content. Is that okay? All right. Live footage. Who says live footage? The answer was obviously 3D generated content, but it was leading you to actually think of that. But when you first saw it, you were convinced, am I right? That was actually live. So this is not Hollywood stuff. And let me tell you, this 5 years ago, it would cost you millions of rands to create something like this, millions. But it's now becoming more and more accessible to production houses like us, and we're able to create really, really phenomenal type of content. Okay, so now we come to characters. We want to quickly get you to understand why we want to use characters. There's usually very sensitive content sometimes we've got to deal with. And we've got gender issues, we've got political issues, we've got financial issues, and we don't want them to be aligned to any particular person, live person, so we create a character to take that sensitivity away, okay? So in this kind of case, we've got an abstract-looking character that's getting a bit of debt. So that kind of serves that purpose. So that's why we want to create animated characters for that reason. Okay, then we have another set of video content that is called motion graphics or infographics. Anybody used any of that? So what is the good thing about this? It's simplicity. When you're looking at a process, you don't want to have too much live footage that the brain's going to be filled up with emotion and everything. You're all focused around how the process of this particular engineering concept is all about. And then the other thing is, of course, we take all these elements and we create motion. And motion, by scaling, rotating, it describes a particular way of how things are going to be moving across this particular process. So if you're going to make a cup of tea and there's some energy that you're going to be spending, you don't want to show a shiny kettle. You want to show just the concept and the idea. So you might think that this is easy because it's simple, but it's not, because you've got to really, really think of what kind of imagery will best suit the kind of concept that you're trying to project. So the first 5 seconds, and I know we discussed this, that if you don't grab the attention of your audience, you're going to lose them, okay? So this is how I try and build in elements that will actually grab the attention right in the beginning of your video. So what about reversing the order? So usually people will start by having a introduction where you see the scenery and you know, getting the scenery up front, so explaining where we are and establishing the kind of mood and the session, that actually people will actually lose interest right there and then. So one of the things we can do is we can reverse the story and bring the end to the front. But suddenly you're going to be asking questions, what happened? Why was this happening in the story? And then you'll be able to watch more. Other things that you can start somebody just jumping off the building and freeze frame and then develop the story after this. You can ask questions, you can put a quote up, get the people engaged to start thinking about why should I be watching this type of content. So there's a whole lot of things that we actually try and figure out as to what do we put right in front of the video to capture their attention. Okay, then we've got live action filming, and these are some of the considerations that always has to come to the fore. Do we shoot in a studio? Do we shoot on location? What are the implications? What are the costs involved behind getting moving shots? The minute we want to have a moving shot, then we've got to bring in special equipment that actually follows the presenter through. Okay. Now, quickly, I want to discuss with you green screen. Whoever you use green screen is trying to become very, very useful in terms of production, especially in corporate. We had an instance where we had to go into a mine about 2,000 meters below the mine. The conditions there are horrific, as I can tell you. You cannot get equipment there to work properly. The lighting conditions, the gases, the preparation that you got to go through initiation. So what we did is we actually green screened the whole environment, and we were actually able to build a underground environment and put the actors on the ground and merge the two. Obviously, we can build virtual sets. There's so much things that we can do with the green screen. And green screen really is all about having most of the movies these days, guys, most of the movies that you see on Star Wars, 98% of it was shot on green screen. All these movies now, all the special effects, Deadpool, all of that, were all done on green screen. So we're trying to utilize this technology as effectively as we can to merge locations and bring locations together. So here's some of the examples where we take a normal studio and we can actually brand it and change the construction set behind so that you don't have to purchase actual physical content. Obviously, the trucks that you see down there at the bottom, we can make realistic looking vehicles, and we don't have to go out and get permission to shoot in such locations. And then obviously in the mine, we can actually still introduce special effects like gases and smoke and everything else and make it really, really as low as possible. So it's not Hollywood anymore, it's really coming into the corporate environment. So to show you another video. Okay, so that's green screen in essence. Okay, now we're going to look at animation, and just to show you the difference, we're celebrating the 90 years of Mickey Mouse this year. So there's a flat image, as you can see, and there's a 3D image. And you can see that the popularity in terms of filmmaking has shifted over to 3D because it expresses a lot more, and there's a lot more angles that we can use. Flat 2D animation has got its purpose, and I will go through that with you just now. So explainer videos are very good with flat characters. And this goes back to the Mediterranean and Middle East times where they had shadow puppetry and telling stories. So the essence of telling stories, people will gather around and just see little puppets, and so that kind of concept has come into the digital world now, and we're able to say, well, John or Mary or George has a problem and we have the solution. You guys shouldn't explain the video. So that's perfect for that because it explains the process of your business concept or your model or the product or service that you're actually having. So let's just have a look at some 2D animation.
Meet Mike. He thinks that the pay-per-click advertising cost and third-party sales mediation commission to be paid are too high.
Improving the layout of equipment. Safety and occupational health practices.
Cool. So now we're going to go into 3D animation and have a look and see how that is actually applied. So architectural walkthroughs are very good, where we actually show spaces in 3D environment. We have engineering, assembly of mechanical equipment. We can look at how chemicals actually interact with certain objects. And obviously when we have an object or a product that we model in 3D, we can actually really make it look better than the original. because we can place it in a certain light. We don't have to worry about some of the packaging, some of the plastics that actually don't work so well. So this is why you see a lot of the hair products, a lot of the those kind of things, even physical products like USB sticks can actually really come to the fore when you model them in 3D animation. So let's take a look at another video in 3D. Okay, this is what I was telling you guys earlier, a little bit about visual effects. Quickly want to show you some imagery. This was only accessible to Hollywood type movies. We now have this technology and we can create real water, real trees, and real effects. This is all done in 3D simulation. Okay, so I'm going to be speeding along because I would like to take some question and answers a little bit later on. So we're going to be looking at a funnel that can be created through our videos, and essentially how the funnel will work is connecting with your customer. I'm trying to realize personally how we actually look at when we approach somebody to try to sell them a product or service. The first thing they say is that I'm not interested. I don't have time. And really, essentially, I don't really know you. Then obviously there's got to be a trust element before anybody can do business with you. They have no basis of any reviews or anybody else trying the product. There's no testimonials. And they're really wondering, what the hell, what is the benefit? What is it in for me? So I've taken all of these kind of concepts and created a little 6-step strategy, which is available, and I can share that with you guys later. All this is available on a presentation that you can actually download and have a look at it. Because I think time is upon me and I'm not going to be able to go through all the steps accurately to let you know about it. But through all those steps, what we do is we have psychological triggers. Because your brain, we want to tap into a particular node that it's inside your brain that's going to excite you and make you want to look at this product and service. And this node is connected to all your memories and your relationships that you've had and your contact, your world. And once we touch onto that point, okay, touching on the nervous edge, it actually lights up your brain and then helps you to come to a conclusive sale. So this is basically the strategy around that. And just to prove to you something, that perception is greater than fact. Can you all see that the letter A, the circle around the A, is actually bigger than the one on the letter B? Can you see that? Yes, all agree? No, actually, the two circles are actually exactly the same. They're exactly the same. But because we've got smaller circles around A, it actually makes you think that it's something else. So it's perception, guys. So this is something that we look at very carefully when we create video content. All right, so quickly I'm going to run through the 6 steps. Firstly, we have awareness, and we get a whole lot of video content to show you how that awareness is going to be. Then we have introduction. So through introducing a product, we stress to clients that when we introduce something, it's not about who you are. So people don't want to buy your product. They want to buy why you did that product. So we look very deeply to see why. Why have they constructed and produced this content, this product for the client? So I'm going to go into the next step, which is credibility. And that is where you build trust with your clients. And We can actually just go through that video just to show you it's got a whole
Each rotor tank is then certified with a SANS approved quality guaranteed label and serial number to clearly indicate that it is fit for service.
Yippee!
We now have more than 25 years experience in partnering with a spectrum of industries such as finance, engineering, electronics, mining.
Gauteng, being the financial capital of Africa, hosts more than 70 foreign banks and the headquarters for all South African banks, insurance and stockbroker giants. The Johannesburg Stock Exchange, the JSE, is amongst the top 20 stock exchanges in the world by market capitalization.
Okay, so you guys have seen a little bit about what credibility is and the credibility kind of content that can be placed. Then obviously we've got your physical product. This is where you feature, what is it for the client? What is it going to get out of this? What is the value? So there isn't one complete video that's going to serve the purpose for whatever you're trying to target. So we break them down to the buyer's journey, and we feed the content at the right moment. So we actually engaged with short content that is relevant at that point in time. Does it make sense for everybody? Okay. Then we're going to be looking, obviously, the testimonials, and everybody's heard about how getting comments and getting reviews is actually helping your message. And then, of course, the last step of the exercise is to keep customers, because it costs you a hell of a lot more to get new customers than to keep the ones that you have. Okay. So we want to be able to upsell and give them other products and keep them within our domain. Okay, so then we're going to be looking at how branding is very, very important. And I think we really made the point very clear yesterday about how branded content is actually helping clients connect with the audiences. So if you look at your brand positioning, you build up, this is the Maslow's hierarchy, and really you want to be king of the world by being the brand endorsement kind of level. So branding, this is what we talk with all our clients, is the branding is very, very important. All the assets that they have means absolutely nothing. All your value really lies within your brand, and how are you going to build that brand online? So, yeah, I mean, 61% of Coca-Cola is actually the brand. None of the assets actually are part of it, $83 billion US. So there's a lot of examples that I've been seeing on YouTube, but of course we're still early stages in South Africa to be able to share branded content because of the speed and other reasons that we have online, but it's going to become the prime way of connecting with customers. So yeah, there's various, I'm not going to go through all of that, guys, because I want to leave some time. So in the future, we're going to be seeing the new VP, and the VP is not going to be the vice president. Of course, it's going to be a video producer living inside each of our organization, creating content for companies and organizations out there. Okay, we've seen that with Red Bull, and yeah, I think I want to just maybe speed up a little bit here. We've discussed a little bit about how much video will cost. And there are a lot of the elements that we saw earlier that we're actually going to, it's like people ask us, how much is a video? And then we're going to compare, how much does a house cost? Well, where's the house? You know what I'm saying? First of all, so we need a whole lot of information to tailor make content that is going to be relevant for you. Okay, so in terms of costs, I can tell you that a production cost 50,000 Rand in the early 90s. And that was equivalent to about 375,000 Rand. A corporate video nowadays of the same kind of caliber, it's still 50,000 Rand. So there's been no change. So the technology that we're using has far exceeded expectations, and the costs remain the same. So in essence, video is really, really very affordable if you take that into consideration. Okay, so we've got a whole lot of factors. We want drones, we want lights. There's a whole lot of After Effects that we can use for post-production. So essentially, you want to be careful that you don't have a negative perception of your brand by the video that you create. You need to make sure that you've taken all of this into consideration and you seek out professional help in terms of getting your message and getting your content right. Okay, so it's all about getting, working with the digital agencies, working with the production house, working with the client, because essentially when we put everything together is where creativity comes to the fore. And I think I want to draw the line right here between artificial intelligence and creatives, is that if you take creativity away from human beings, then they stop being human beings who they are. So we can use the technology to assist us and help us alongside, but you can't take the soul away from human beings. Am I right? So that's where I wanted to end. So we made marketing easy. We've generated more leads by identifying the type and style of video. We've created more sales through a 6-step marketing strategy. And we've built the brand through dynamic storytelling. So yeah, laughter is timeless, imagination has no age, and dreams are forever. Do you guys feel a little bit younger after all of this? It's been quite a speed race, so I apologize for that to get through to the end, but I really want to see if there's any questions that we can actually tackle with. Yes, indeed.
Good morning.
Hi.
So with the advances of video, I've seen a lot of talk about deep fakes. And for those who are not sure what I'm talking about, deep fakes are basically videos that look authentic but are not. So what people can do with Photoshop in terms of putting someone's body on another person's face, or making someone like kind of like a green screen where it looks like you're in a certain place that you're not. Deep fakes of videos that look like Obama is saying something when indeed it's not. It's an actor who is mimicking certain facial features that make it look like Obama is saying that. So what should or what can we expect video producers to do in order to combat that? So for instance, with fake news, this is going to be a real thing, because right now you might say a picture is doctored, but you trust video. So I think going into the future, deepfakes are going to be an actual problem in terms of credibility and authenticity.
It's not, I think, it's not in control in the hands of the producers. It's more in control of those who actually distribute that kind of content and the reasons why they actually want to do that. I mean, we could animate an Obama 3D animation and make him talk just like him, and it doesn't have to be him. You won't believe there's a different person. So we can create that. The technology really exists to create that. It's the reasoning. Who's going to do that, and why would you want to do that? Okay, so we're going beyond entertainment and kind of marketing, and now it becomes more a political thing. So it's out of the space of content producers to really say how that's going to play out. Yeah, any more?
Good morning, Mike.
Hi.
Quick one, where can I download your presentation inclusive of the videos?
Yes,
You mentioned that earlier.
I've got a PDF, and on that PDF there's the link to a channel that has got all those videos, so you could view them alongside
So is that on the Digimarket?
strategy, yes.
Okay.
So I can share that with you, not a problem.
Thank you very much. And then the next question would be, for the green screens, what kind of applications or softwares have you been using so far?
Okay, so we use
can share that trade.
we use the Adobe Suite mainly for that. But you know, it's not just the editing process that
No, I'm sure.
it's the lighting and it's the codecs by the camera. The camera's got to have the right color space for it to be able to take. Otherwise, you get this green tinge all around the hair, and you get all of this kind of artifacts that makes it look cheap. Okay, so in order to kill all this out, we've done extensive research in that to make it look realistic. So your backgrounds really match. You've got to match it, otherwise it looks silly.
Okay, so you would use this as a software Dolby D?
Which software? After Effects, Adobe After Effects. We use After Effects and we use Adobe Premiere. But that's not going to be your total solution. You need to have the right lighting and you need to have the right codec when you're filming.
Okay, thank you very much.
Cool.
Right.
Hi.
Hello.
So lately, well, maybe not so recently, it's been going on for a while, where when we're trying to make videos, we're told, or we know from research, that they need to be shorter, more precise, because people consume information on the go, or it's very quick. So for industries like academics, or maybe even for some other businesses as well, I worry that we lose the space for valuable content. And therefore, we have to keep creating these continuations from the last video we produced, just so that we can get all the information content out. So I worry about, first of all, if we end up flooding people with videos because we're trying to get all the information out. But then I'm trying to think of other solutions as well to go against these short videos without us losing important or valuable information. But then you also don't want to lose interest of your viewers. So I find that's a really hard thing for me, especially when it comes down to editing, of saying this information we can lose and this we can keep.
Okay, so I have a solution for that, because I know that's going to be a huge problem, because there's tons and tons of content. Where the hell do you start? And you're worried about starting something that you're going to drop in the middle of the thing because it wasn't quite what you wanted to watch. So you got to wait. And people have realized that and actually don't engage with long content. So my solution to that is that you create a promo, an essence of what this content is all about, and you screen that first so people know exactly what they're going to be engaging with. Okay, so you take like 15 or 20 seconds to tell people that this is what this 1 hour video is going to be about. Okay, and once they've watched that, then they know that they're going to be sitting out for the next hour, and this is what they're going to get out of it. So that to me makes far more sense than just trying to screen a whole 1 hour video, because people are going to get cut off at some point in midway. That sort of answer your question?
For me, I'm not really concerned so much about the videos that need an hour. It's sometimes when we're trying to get in the margin of just 3 minutes at a maximum. And I worry, especially in fields of academics, or when we're trying to disseminate research or cover the projects that we've done or the impact, that 3 minutes I don't think does justice to the content that we have. Because even when we go to 7 minutes, we don't really get to an hour. It's like 7 minutes, 15 minutes. But it's still too long, and I know it's too long to put on social media sites, other platforms. And if I put like a promo, I feel as though I'm still losing value. In the sense of like having two videos.
So the solution again is you cut up the video into 3 sections, okay? And you actually start your video by telling people something exciting. You keep them engaged. At the end of that video, you have, on my next video, I'm going to be telling you, or I'm going to share with you, the next piece of content. So you leave a cliffhanger on video 1 so people can continue to video 2. So you actually help them along by splitting up the video into different sections. So that could also help. But also it's how you drive that content, how you keep engaged with your audience about your topic, subject matter. You understand what I'm saying? So there's a whole lot of things that you can do by scripting alone that will help you guide, so you can make sure that you get audience watching it all the way through. Does that help you a little bit as well? Okay.
So great presentation on video, by the way.
Thank you.